Alright, so this is late night. I'm doing this like 2:58. I I was just at I would have had this done like a lot earlier, but I went to locals and I played like aquapazza and King of Fighters 2000, and I mean that's probably better than fucking writing 400 lines of code. Um, I don't know if it peaks. I'm trying to ASMR this because I don't want to wake my neighbors up. So I've been working on this. There's a lot of graphical stuff I've been doing. I've been trying to finalize everything for a demo, and there are a lot of things I needed to do that like it's not like polish. It's really about quality of life, and because like when I made the practice mode, the music's too loud. When I made practice mode, I have this issue with the music. Is my menu music is very it's all over the place. I'm still not sure about. I mean, I love it. I love the music, but it comes at you. It builds off the interest, so it's whatever. But I made this system that's very complicated. The system's about scoring, and when you make a scoring game, generally it appeals to a certain demographic, right? So I like scoring games. I like score. I don't really like playing like 1cc. I think it's useful for learning to play the game, but I mean, it's sort of like my issue with Last Resort. I like Last Resort. It's a very hard game, and I like learning it for the 1cc. It's worth it. It's worth to do because the game is so hard, and yet it feels so good to figure out like how to route the maps. But at the same time, I don't feel like the scoring. It doesn't drive me, right? I love Border Down. Border Down is my favorite game. Cotton isn't a scoring game, but I like how Cotton uses score. Metal Black doesn't use a lot of scoring, but there's something about it, like how you can score in that game is interesting. But like I don't like. That's sort of my problem. It's like I hate like no bomb, no miss kind of stuff, because I feel like it's so cheap in terms of scoring. I feel like you could do so many other things. There's so many ways to make interesting scoring mechanics, and it doesn't have to be drops or anything. Well, it could be drops. It could be whatever. But I think scoring's so tied to how I view. Like, I don't want to finish an arcade game. I want to get a good score. I want to, and I hate games where I love Metal Slug, but I hate feels like Metal Slug is like, score is an afterthought often. It's like you score based on like how well you do. I 1cc'd X in middle school. I couldn't do it now. I'm so out of practice. I'm so bad at that game now. But back in middle school when I 1cc'd Metal Slug X, I didn't play for score. I just wanted to finish the game. And I think that's such a bad way to view games now. I mean, it makes sense in arcades, but I want the joy of the game to be, oh, I can figure out what to do here or what I can do here, and I can optimize this or Y. And it's like the thing people get about speed running, they love this. I hate speed. I think speed running is fucking stupid. It's because it's not intended by the dev, outside of like what GoldenEye. But like for me, scoring, when a game gives you really, 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 really strong scoring mechanics, I really enjoy that because it gives me like, oh yes, so I can optimize X and Y. I can do X and Y. I do this on the stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. So Border Down is probably the perfect scoring game for me. It every stage feels so tuned towards what they want you to do. Anyway, it's been 5 minutes. I've been rambling. I mean, if you're watching this, this is the ASMR version of me explaining this thing that eventually will happen. Do you like the background, by the way? It's kind of I really love it, but it's an eyesore. I might change the color. I used a version of this in the original How to Play. It was a little lighter. It was a little lighter yellow. Ugh. It was a little lighter yellow, and I don't know. It kind of zooms in. I love how it looks, but it's kind of weird. So anyway, there'll be more Zaz. These last two I haven't put the text in yet. So I mean I'm still working. If I didn't go to locals, I'd probably have this all done. But I got these 4 done. I'm so used to just like putting the mechanics themselves like in a sheet. Oh, you look at the sheet. Okay, here's like the wiki, all the stuff like from fighting games and the shmups I play. I'm so used to just going. You go to the resources that the players made. But I think that's not a good way to view the game. And How to Play in the arcade era was just okay. These buttons do X. These buttons do Y. Put them in the front. It doesn't explain anything else. You just kind of gotta work with it. I like the concept. It's novel. It has to fit into attract mode. It has to fit into like the cycle. But you know, we're not in the arcade anymore, so we should explain things. And fighting games try to do these, and to varying degrees. I really don't like trial modes. I think trial modes are really bad. They don't really explain the game. They just do like combos that are unoptimal they're optimal, situational, but they're not real. They're not combos you'd use. They're not like viable combos in a match. So, when it came to this, I wanted to think about like, well, how do I distill the mechanics? So I've written on my website. If you haven't seen my website, it has all the breakdown of how you score, has breakdown on how the mechanics work. It has all the details. I put all my formulas on there and everything. If you want to know how the game works, that's it. That's the place to go. This is not that. This is the basics. This is how does the game function without the details, just like the bare basics. And I think that's important. And so I'll click this. We'll go here. Pops in. You get text. I might change it. I want to zazz it up maybe more. The yellow. I'm old. The yellow hard subs do hit for me, but I feel like I don't know with the rest of the graphic design, it's not perfect. Okay, so we have this. It tells you the things. These things, and you can interact now. You can fire. It tells you what you can do: up, down, fire, A, right? And then orb goes back. Shows you. Now you can see. Well, you can't see it that well with the background. I got to change the color. But you can fire. Orb goes back up front. Now you have the situation where you have an interactive situation with these waves that cycle, and you know you can't use the orb or anything. This is to purely teach you how to use the bullets. In the situation I'm showing that at a certain amount of time with a certain bullet cache you can do homing. Because I mean I think shooting is obvious, but how your homing works is less obvious. I always had that issue with Borderdown. Is like where to use tap. I mean my shots are partially derived from how that works. Is that where do you use homing and where do you use where do you tap and where do you hold? And it's important to make that distinction early on. Is that there are situations where you want to use either, right? Because the way they work. So here we have the laser. Talk about the laser. So we got talk about tap and it talks about thing. Maybe I might show it. It's kind of I don't want to get into how the live system works too in depth. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll make the HUD show up. It's a difficult question for me. But you can press B and do both. So it's possible. It doesn't show you how much you lose, which might be an issue. There's some more information, and then I'll show you. And then when you pump out, it pumps you out to the next one. And we'll do orb mechanics real quick. This is a quick one, so go through. Oh, it didn't. I need to fix that. It didn't change the lives, but it doesn't matter. So now you have the situation. You can't fire, but you can move the orb around. Not that you'd want to in this situation. Actually, you could. You could do backwards orb here. It kind of gives you a feel for like how you want to use. My goal is that I want to give you a feel for how the mechanics work without explaining it. I want you to be able to play around with them in a sandbox. This one probably needs more work. So this is when you get hit by a bullet, or if you hit a body or something. If you walk into like a force orb, you won't get this. This is only that happens when you get hit by a bullet or walk into an obstacle. You'll get the shield, and you can't move here. The shield is gonna show you. Eat the orbs. This is something like a picture's worth 1,000 words here. I couldn't explain this in words to people. It's such a weird concept. Yeah, if you get hit, the orb gets bigger, and you for a short amount of time. It's short. It's like 2.5 seconds. All right, and then you go back to the support. I'll get to the support one. This is really simple. So we have these things here, so you have access to use the ship. The ship will needle everything naturally because of how long it is. I made sure that you couldn't fuck this up. Go back to the center, and then it explains how the scoring works, but not in depth. I don't want to overwhelm the player with the scoring. It explains the cooldown, and I think that's fine. And then, you know what? It's like we're already like 12 minutes in. I'll do the orbs. So, explains how the enemies work. I might want to change how it works because I'm not really happy with the fly-in for this enemy. It looks weird. But you can move up and down here. Nice. Kill it. And there's some advice for playing the game. And then an example of a more complex situation, right? So let's say this enemy has... I could fire. I could kill this guy here, but... You're going to want to use the orb in this situation. The orb is more beneficial because you'll... Well, it's not explained yet, but you get more points. But anyway, I want to create, like... I have to write this, like, these two sections. I've written them down, but I haven't coded them. I would have coded them earlier, but I went to locals, so I had fun playing King of Fighters. Because that's going home. King of Fighters is the truth. And play 2000. Yeah, I mean, I need to do this, and I need to do recompiling on, my loading screen is bad. I load everything right now, like instant, like on like launch, which is really bad. I need a thread load. I don't want to thread load everything through the attract, but I have to code that, and that takes time. And I'm not a programmer. I have programming knowledge, but I'm not a programmer. I am just a guy who knows how to do functions. So hopefully soon. The only reason I haven't put anything out sooner is outside of like this is just because I have a lot of like there's stutter and jitter and everything from shaders and everything, and I need to iron that out because it's not really conducive to like a good shooter. You could have like jitters in a platformer or something maybe, or like in a shooter, but in a game like this where it really hinges on like pinpoint detail, like it doesn't work. So hopefully soon. But and also I gotta get a job. I'm bleeding money. uh, all right. ASMR out.